Welcome back to On Deck Circle Podcast, brought to you by the Fantasy Six Pack. I am your ready for baseball host, Mr. Nick Zaniboni, with my very good friend Jason. Jason, how are you on this fine evening?
Great, Nick. We are, like you said, ready for baseball. World Baseball Classic is going on. We got spring training going on. We are mere days away
It's time, bud.
It's crazy how fast it's opening day is coming here. Like we talked about this pre-show. There's opening day is here very soon.
Yeah, and it's
early this year.
I feel like in the past few weeks I've been talking about this like almost like a wedding day, and like you're picking up your suit, you're picking up your tux, you're making sure it fits. That is where we are in the current off season. But Jason, before we're gonna talk baseball, I'm gonna do my favorite part of the show, which is the cold open question of the week, which actually does have to do with some sort of baseball, not really, but that's fine. So, as you know, I'm big into reality TV. We're not talking Love is Blind.
So I meant to ask you about
that commented years ago.
I meant to ask you about Love is Blind.
That's on the next podcast. Huge fan of Survivor. I've watched Survivor with my mom, my whole upbringing, and now I make my wife watch it with me. So this season is Survivor 50, season 50 of Survivor. They're bringing back old cast members for one last go, okay? I want you to tell me, what former Cub do you believe could come back and play right now and not lose a wink? Please don't pick someone that retired a year ago.
Yeah.
Let's do a Hall of could be in the Hall of Fame. Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, Jason. So this is the person currently, you can't pick Ryan Sandberg because he's older, right?
Yeah.
So
I have a perfect answer.
Oh, great.
It's Carlos Zambrano. I think I saw him play.
That's a really good one, Jason.
I think I saw him most recently, probably about a year or two ago. He just came back last year for a lot of the play. He was an ambassador for the playoffs last year, and he looked almost identical to when he was playing. I bet you he could easily hit. He could probably top out at 92 still, I'm guessing. So I'm gonna go with Carlos Zambrano.
Yeah, mine's kind of easy too. It's David Ortiz.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you fully have you looked at his last season?
I didn't, but I do know that I use him in MLB The Show all the time, and the dude rakes for me.
All right. In 2016, he hit 38 homers, 127 RBI, OBP over 400, hit 315.
Wait, what was it in 2016?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was just 10 years ago.
So he was 40. That's a great, that could be one of the best offensive performances for someone that retired. Granted, being 40 and only being a DH for so long also is helpful. That's kind of why he was kind of a longevity guy.
Dude, he led the majors in doubles.
48.
At the 40-year-old. And then also led the league in RBIs at 127.
He also had one triple.
Yeah.
Just over
38 bombs.
I don't think he gets enough credit. I get that he might be a steroid guy.
Yeah.
I get that he was a DH, but that guy can hit.
And honestly, yeah, I mean, who wasn't doing steroids at the time, but if you look at the numbers, like they never was really like a huge, like insane influx. All of a sudden, he was going from like hitting like 5 home runs to like 50. He was always hitting like 25 bombs, which back in the early 2000s, I think everybody was hitting that.
So it's like 54 homers in 2006,
which is nothing nowadays. Cal Raleigh just hit 60.
Yeah.
But I was gonna ask you this as a real quick before we not to get off too much topic. It's still baseball, but as a Red Sox fan, who was your guy, Manny or Big Papi?
I think it was probably Ortiz.
Yeah.
I was a Pedro guy.
Okay.
So like Pedro was my guy.
Yeah.
But then it was probably Ortiz. And like this is just me being like listening to like, do you know how you kind of like adopt your dad's takes?
Oh yeah.
Just like so like he was pretty anti-Manny.
Yeah.
Because Manny was like Manny could hit, but he was just it would be like, don't watch Manny play because like I don't want you to play like that. So that was kind of my upbringing, was like Pedro's good, Nomar, but yeah, Manny was kind of let's not play like Manny plays.
Because as a non-Red Sox fan, Ortiz was one of my favorites, man. Like that dude was like much watch at bats. Like I can remember vividly between every pitch, he would step out and spit in his and go like that, right? He would oh man, he would just spit in his hand after every pitch. It was awesome. And I was a huge Big Papi fan.
All right, thank you. And that was talking Big Papi. Those were 2 really good answers. I am glad that I asked that one.
Yeah. All right, well, this week we're going to continue our Around the Divisions Dynasty Breakouts. This is our third in the series now, so you kind of know how this works. We're going to go around, give out a Dynasty breakout or a prospect that could be rising lists here in the next couple of years, one for each team. This week I am taking the NL West. Nick has the AL West. And this is going to be a little bit of a back and forth round. I don't know what it's called, the round robin or back and forth thing here. I get one, you get one. Let's jump right into it here and get through some of these guys. You're gonna kick it off for us here with the Angels. Give us a little bit of topic, a little bit of talking on Chase Shores.
Chase Shores. This is definitely someone that, I don't know if this happens to you in first-year player drafts, but like you don't know who this guy is when the draft starts. But then, like in your research of other guys, you're like, oh, who's this? And then you're like, how did I not know this guy? This guy's elite. Oh, I should have picked him in the first. I'm going to get him in the 5th. That's kind of how Chase Shores was for me. 6'8", 245 pounds. High velo, triple digits, return from Tommy John in 2025. He did struggle a bit. They moved him to the pen. As soon as they moved him to the pen, he was elite. He's got a 3-pitch mix, fastball, slider, change. Could be a starter if it really works. But as we've kind of always stated, most relief pitchers are just failed starters. But there's something that I did want to point out. In 2023, I mean, the 2022-2023 season before Chase got hurt, he was right up there with Cade Anderson for that LSU team. Under 2 ERA. How many strikeouts was it? Sorry. A lot. Why is this not? This is the worst website. It tells me how many fielding outs.
Are you looking for strikeouts in 2025?
15 strikeouts in 2025 through 4 starts. So the stuff's there, and then he got hurt. But then last year, before he got moved to the pen, his ERA was over 5. But we're talking about a Tommy John surgery. As a young player, you have to give anybody that 18-month kind of window. Yep. And if we're talking a landing spot for a college starting pitcher, honestly, I kind of like the Angels just because they're so aggressive, almost to a fault. But this is kind of going to be like you're going to know what you have in the next 12 months. And that's kind of what you like to see in first-year player drafts, just because you're not going to be like wishing on Chase Shores. You're going to either cut him next year to make room for your first-year player draft, or he's going to be a piece either in the Angels bullpen or maybe even a starter. And that's kind of where I'm at here is you're betting on the velocity, you're betting on the size, and you're betting on the opportunity just because the Angels are not afraid to give that. And we've seen that in the last 3-4 years where their second round picks get called up. And honestly, they used Bremer was the second overall pick. And Chase Shores has better stuff. So I'm curious to just how this actually works out. And if it is in the bullpen, that's great. Whatever. Still going to be a high K guy. But yeah. So we'll definitely see about Chase Shores. I don't know if you knew about him at all, if you did any research at all, but
like you said, it's funny because FYPD baseball's so weird, right? I feel like one of the only fantasy sports where the draft happens for one in the middle of the actual season, which does not happen in any other sport, and then two, for fantasy purposes, we then wait 8 months to then have our fantasy rookie draft. So football, the draft is in April. You probably have your rookie draft in May or June or July. This one again, baseball. You saw, even if you pay attention, I remember I watched the MLB draft, especially now that that's part of the All-Star weekend. Mm-hmm. You watch it, right? It's the middle of July, and then you I remember this guy, and then they kind of just you kind of go back to focusing on your actual fantasy and dynasty teams and trying to compete and win championships, and then all of a sudden January comes around and you're like, oh yeah, Chase Shores. He was the top 50 pick last year in the draft. And I remember them spotlighting him at the time of the draft. And and yeah, he was really good. Can't deny the frame is there. 6'8", 245 is crazy. Already had Tommy John surgery, which you never want to wish on anybody, but you might as well get it out of the way nowadays with these pitchers. And yeah, you know that on the head, the Angels always aggressively push especially their college picks. Reed Detmers was quickly moved through the system. Mm-hmm. Christian Moore, who was drafted just last year. Chanel, Zach Neto. I mean, you can, like you said,
pitcher too. The Ryan Thompson, maybe a relief pitcher.
Yeah, they definitely, especially like I said, the college guys, they have no problem pushing those guys up through the ranks. With him only hitting 60 innings last year, they may take it easy and maybe give him a shot at the end of the year. But yeah, I'm definitely down to see what this is. Definitely a nice. It'll be his first professional year because obviously they drafted him last year and then shut him down. So he'll be making his first full debut, and he actually is he's in spring training right now.
Yeah,
he pitched an inning as of right now. As of us recording this, he's pitched 1 inning.
So Pipeline has him as their 9th prospect, and that's pretty. There's no qualms with me with that. Yeah, just a good waiver wire guy.
Yeah,
he should be on the waiver wire in any 18-team league, honestly.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, and I know we were talking about this off air, but finding some breakouts. Angels are one of those teams where it's man, it's a rough time to be an Angels fan. I mean, they have a whole lot of nothing going on for that organization. Trout's basically on the back 9 of his career. Some of these other guys are just mediocre players. So it was definitely the breakouts are not necessarily all there for the Angels. That's for sure.
For sure.
All right, we're going to my guy here. I'm gonna jump over and move over down the coast a little bit more and go over to inland and go to Arizona. Talking Tommy Troy, the Diamondbacks. The former 12th overall pick in 2023 is coming off one of his best seasons. He spent 2025 in both AA and made it to AAA. Across both levels, he compiled 15 home runs, 24 stolen bases, 79 runs, 66 RBIs. Just a really nice prospect for them. He's their 5th-ranked prospect, and I mean, for good reason. He proved he can hit pretty much at every level he's been at. He's got a strong approach to the plate, doesn't strike out, walks at a 12% clip, Last year he slashed 289, 382, 451. So he's getting on base at almost a 400 clip, even at the higher levels. The speed hasn't always been there. It's kind of always gotten like that 20 home run or 20 stolen bases and double digits. The power is what's kind of starting to kind of develop here a little bit, and it's kind of bumping him up my rankings a little bit. And there's always that promise of the power. We're starting to kind of see it here now. Back-to-back seasons with double-digit home runs, 15 last year. I think it was like 10 or 12 the year before that. So it's starting to kind of fill out his frame, and as he kind of matures here a little bit. Let's see. And then going back to just this last year where he basically had a breakout in a sense as a prospect goes. Promoted to AAA. Once he was promoted to AAA, he slashed 295, 381, 429 with an 810 OPS. Small sample size, but I like Tommy Troy. He's not somebody that's like under the radar. I feel like people, if you play in Dynasty leagues, you know who Tommy Troy is, right? He's a top 12 pick just a couple of years ago. But I think we might see him take a nice leap up here in some of these prospect rankings going forward. The Diamondbacks have done a little bit of, especially up the middle of the diamond, have done a really nice job of developing prospects.
Yeah, he's an interesting one just because I don't know, like ceiling wise, like where he's at. Because like you say, like they do a good job of developing, but also they're also bad at it at the same time. Like we see like the Jordan Lawlers, like, and like they're not bad. It's I just feel like we're just continuing to wait. And I'm curious to just see if given a full opportunity, what he can do. I don't know if that's like, especially like there was so much smoke with the Marte trade that never actually happened. That probably would have been great for him. They just traded Blaze Alexander, and like Blaze Alexander isn't like a world beater by any means, but like I can see Troy kind of fitting in to that utility role just to try and get to the big leagues, because he's obviously blocked at second base. But if maybe slot in the outfield, but they have Waldschmidt. Hopefully that's going to break camp with them. So yeah, I'm interested in player just because during this time that when Troy was drafted, it was kind of when the Red Sox were bad. So it was like he was just someone that was always linked to the Red Sox. So I kind of like learned more about him. But he's just a fine player. He kind of reminds me of someone that I'm going to talk about in a little bit for the Mariners. But nothing that's like, there's no tool here that I'm like, oh my God, I need this guy. But I think he's going to be a valuable asset, more valuable for the Diamondbacks than to your fantasy team. But
very good point.
Fantasy team in general, he's a good asset. Honestly, he's someone that I would look to deal just because he doesn't kind of have that standout category that he's going to like take over for you. But yes, I think we see him in the next step in that type of breakout that could be on the big leagues this summer.
Yeah. Just going back to my point, I think Jordan Lawler might be a little bit of an outlier of that. You talk about an organization that's developed Ketel Marte, Jazz Chisholm, Gerald Perdomo. In the years past, I mean, again, it's hard to kind of hard to compare Tommy Troy to Jazz Chisholm, but when you look along the career path, it's very similar. Jazz Chisholm was just like an organizational prospect, and then eventually started to develop really nice. And obviously, we know what Jazz Chisholm is doing now. I'm not saying that Tommy Troy will be Jazz Chisholm because there's no, I don't know if you have any comps really that make up Jazz Chisholm right now in this Arizona organization. But I like to see where he kind of goes from here and where the development goes for Tommy Troy and see what Arizona can do for him going this year.
That Jazz Chisholm trade was fun. Just Zach Gallen for Chisholm.
Yeah. It's funny too when I don't want to go down too much, but like Arizona made a lot of crazy trades at that time too. That was also around the same time that they traded Dansby Swanson for Shelby Miller.
Yeah,
that's right around the same time frame, which obviously we know Swanson was number one overall pick.
Yeah.
So Arizona made a couple of weird at the time. I was like, oh my God, because I think were they maybe I'm thinking this wrong. I know Swanson was like 1-1, but was Shelby Miller in that same draft?
That
or was he like the year before? I don't know. It's a mute point. It doesn't really matter. We're not talking about botched Arizona trades. But yeah, those one of those guys where like I think maybe Miami would have liked that one back. But let's go on to our next guy here. Someone that's everyone's familiar with.
Yeah.
Kurtz.
Yeah. This was kind of a cop-out, Jason. Really just needed someone for the thumbnail, and Nick Kurtz is indeed a very known player.
He has broken out, but he's only 22, so a lot could change.
The breakout, I like breakout. I'm kind of just taking this like taking the next step up.
Yeah.
And like in this case, it could be like MVP candidate Nick Kurtz.
Right.
I think he very well might have had the best rookie season that I've ever seen. Like as when it comes to just hitting with 36 homers. If you went on the 162 game pace, he's hitting over 50. And we just spoke how people a power hitter now kind of wakes up and hits 40, 50 homers. But he's also just hitting for average. He hit 290 in that time. His OBP was over 380. One thing, if I could nitpick, is the strikeouts. He did have 151 strikeouts, over 488 plate appearances, but you're kind of sacrificing that for the homers. And I think that's certainly worth the risk. I think here we're talking 40 plus homers for the next decade. Like you could, if you could pencil in anybody to hit 500 home runs right now, I'm picking him, even not even counting last season. That's how good of a power hitter he is. And this kind of makes me rethink, like, even us just like talking first year player draft. And sometimes you just gotta, it's like I think sometimes we just overthink it. Like he's always been a power hitter. And I feel like everyone was kind of just getting cute, being like, oh yeah, he'll hit a few home runs. Well, no, he's already a top first baseman in fantasy baseball.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, no, it's funny because we talk about has he already broken out? Is he set to break out? He was just drafted 2 years ago in 2024. If you look at the 2024 draft class, there is like 5 to 10 guys that we talked about in our top prospect lists. So like, I think you're safe to still call that Nick Kurtz has he broken out? Yes, but he could probably continue to break out. And I can remember when they took him at 4 overall, there was a little bit of a scuffle, like, Jack Caglione's still on the table, JJ Weatherhold's still on the table, and Athletics went Nick Kurtz, and then here we are, and I'm he's at the top 10 first baseman, and I think he even has more room to grow as he's still only 22 years old, and I'm loving that teams nowadays, especially the college hitters, are getting drafted, and they're no longer spending 2, 3, 4 years in the minors and not getting called up till they're 26, 27. They're now making their debuts at 21, 22 years old, and I love it. Especially when it's guys like this that come up and they prove that they can belong in the majors and that we don't have to wait around and give them 2,000 at bats in the minor league level. I think that speaks a lot of volume to the college game. I think the college game itself has grown a lot over the last 5 to 10 years. I think NCAA baseball has gotten, very, very more advanced. And if only they would just stop using metal bats, which is crazy to me that you can get drafted out of high school, right? And you go to the minor leagues, low A, high A, and you got to use wood bat. But if you stay in the college, you're allowed to use metal. It's crazy to me. Yeah. That's another topic, but yeah, that I love Nick Kurtz, and I think that I'm here for more home Nick Kurtz bombs. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Jumping over to my guy here, talk about Dodgers. We're talking about Emmet Sheehan. The Dodgers are one of those teams where I looked up and down their lineup, and I'm like, they not only don't have a breakout on their current roster, they have every all-star at every position. So to do any of those guys is a disservice. And then we've talked a lot about their minor league systems. I feel like Sheehan's a guy who I personally am very high on, and he's now set to make the rotation most likely out of spring training, opening day roster. Dave Roberts said that he's going to give him a chance. I think of there's like 3 or 4 guys that are on that same fringe, like it's Emmet Sheehan, River Ryan, Gavin Stone, but Bobby Miller.
Yeah.
All those guys are kind of just like lumped together and have been making spot starts over the last few years. I feel like Sheehan has shown the most promise. And I think he's ready to take the next step and just take off. He's still only 26 years old. Last year, he a little bit of a minor breakout. He finished with a 2.82 ERA, a sub-1 whip at 0.97, a 184 average against, 31% strikeout rate, 30% CSW. When you look at the advanced metrics, they all look great too. The chase rate, whiff rate, his xERA all ranked near the top of the league. Pitch mix excellent. Fastball, slider, changeup, curveball. The curveball is almost non-existent. He will throw it every once in a while, but he kind of focuses more on the fastball, slider, changeup. His fastball sits in the upper 90s, so a nice hard velo. The slider is probably his second best pitch, which evidenced by his 44% whiff rate. The changeup is also another very good, solid secondary option. But again, you're going into a rotation on a team like the Dodgers. You're almost guaranteeing that he'll get at least double-digit wins, 10 to 15 wins for sure this year, if he stays healthy. I think that he has shown a lot of promise, and I think he's ready to break out for a premier contender in the NL.
Yeah, he's a good one. He's kind of a if he wasn't on the Dodgers, he would be like this, like uber, like someone like how we're talking about like Nolan McLean, just such a high profile guy. But it's so funny that we're like, oh yeah, he's like a depth piece for them. But like, if he was on the Cubs, he would be their like SP2.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, you might even be able to argue like SP1. I'm putting Cabrera as SP1. Is that correct? Am I missing someone?
I mean, it's still to be determined, but Justin Steele comes back.
Oh, yeah. Horton. Okay.
Horton.
Yeah. But like, he is fully
I feel like Sheehan has the same abilities, or has the ability to be just as good as Cade Horton, if not better. I mean, I'm a huge Cade Horton fan, but we've only seen him do it for 4 months of a pro career, so it's not like right off some thing that Cade Horton's the next Randy, the next Greg Maddux. I mean, I love Cade Horton, see what he can do. So yeah, to say that Sheehan might be their number one, I wouldn't doubt that, because he's got that nice high velo, which you look for in your power pitchers and your strikeout abilities. But yeah, continue. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, all in on Sheehan. This might be no, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I have Emmet Sheehan in a contracts league, Dynasty contracts. He was a minor leaguer, so he wasn't. I just owned him.
Mm-hmm.
So I was offered 2 years of Bryce Harper for Emmet Sheehan, and that would be 5 years of Emmet Sheehan for 2 years of Bryce Harper, and I rejected it just because I think Emmet Sheehan's going to be not necessarily like amazing, but I think his value in the next 5 years outweighs Harper's value in the next 2. So I'm all in on Sheehan, all in. Honestly, I would pick him in like any redraft as well, because Roki Sasaki sucks.
Yeah, don't even bring that up, bro. I'm already regretting that trade. But I'm trying to quickly pull up. He's made about 2 years, or probably in his 2 seasons that he's been at the major league level, he's basically not average, but compiled enough to be like 1 full year of stats. He's made in 2 years. Let's see. How many starts is that? Well, 133 innings. So yeah, that's like an SP4's workload. 153 strikeouts, 3.77 ERA, with a 10-4 win-loss record on a Dodgers team and that's probably going to get. I feel like that's pretty solid. What you might be able to expect this year alone in 2026, something along those lines, like 10 wins, 150 strikeouts, probably like a 3.5 ERA around that range. So yeah, I'm all in for Sheehan. And yeah, Roki may be destined for the closer role.
Yeah.
I think this was the guy you were talking about earlier when we were talking about Tommy Troy, and it's going to be Cole Young.
Yes.
Of the Seahawks, the Mariners.
Seahawks. Yeah. Cole Young, another guy, just kind of like I feel like recently we've just been talking about guys that just have great hit tools, and Cole Young kind of fits that. But honestly, his power, he really does just remind me of Tommy Troy. Those like 15 to 20 homer guys will hit over 280. Will get on base at a high clip. Will steal you some bases. We're not talking like 30, but like possibly 20. Young's got an elite plate discipline. He had a 14% walk rate last year. His ratio was 1-to-1 for every strikeout he walked, which was cool because that's just a fun stat for like a young player. I think we might be able to get to 20 homers. He did only hit 12 last year, but interested in the player. I think you can probably get him pretty cheap just because, much like Troy, doesn't have like a full calling card. But I see him playing on this Mariners team, which is the Mariners. You're always a Mariners guy. I feel like that's like your AL team. Yeah. But you've got Naylor, you've got J-Rod. They have such a fun team, and I think he's just like a perfect. If he hits out of like the 9 hole, which is so funny because like growing up, if you bat 9th, you're like the worst player. But like now, it's like, oh, you're kind of just like the second leadoff guy. So yeah, all in on Cole Young.
Yeah, that's a good comp. I think he's like kind of like I said, similar to Tommy Troy, where he may be a better real life baseball player than he's a fantasy player, but you never know. You guys are still both really young. There could be a lot of developmental that happens as far as offensive goes. And I think some of the traits that they have, the advanced approach to the plate is what you look for in development. If they can do that, I think a lot of like the power and the counting stats will come eventually. But yeah, I like the Cole Young company. Yes, I am a Seattle guy. I do like the Mariners. It was a shame to see them get knocked out in the championship series last year, but that was last year. We're on to 2026. We're going to my next guy here. This one was, I feel like I was going to Jung Hoo Lee of the Giants.
Okay.
Major league ball player. We're talking about major league here, not a prospect for the Giants. He was somebody that was obviously getting a lot of buzz this time of year, 2 years ago for people's first year player draft. We keep seeing a lot of the international guys come over. But he ultimately, he obviously made the team and ended up getting hurt and missed majority of his year. And he only appeared in 37 games in 2024. So then in 2025, he came back fully healthy and had a really nice year. Nothing that's going to, blow the doors off. But, he slashed 266, 327, 407. He had a 438 WOBA with a 107 WRC plus. The major counting stats aren't really there, like the home runs, stolen bases, the things you look for in your fantasy studs. They don't really jump off the page. But some of the other contributions were nice, right? 73 runs, 55 RBIs. He did get double-digit steals with 10. When you look at his advanced stats, it makes it even look a little more appealing. He's got elite bat-to-ball skills. His chase rate, whiff rate, and K rate all rank in the top 5% of the league. His XBA is also near the top of the league. And then this is a guy that, is coming over from the NPB. And then looking back, at his time as a KBO hitter, I think, it's shown over a time that it's not obviously the advanced competition as it is MLB, but he had a 340 career batting averaging in the Korean Baseball League. And I think, this may not be some guy that you're drafting like in the top 5 rounds of your fantasy draft, but he'd definitely be a solid contributor for your dynasty team, especially if you play like in deeper, 15 or plus teams or 5+ outfield teams. I think you can easily get like 15 seasons with like a high OBP and solid run production. And I think, he's just one of those guys that, came over, gets hurt, people overlook him, people forget about him, maybe gets trade baited in your league or something, and now he comes back in 2025, has a nice solid career, and I'm curious to see, and I feel like he can make maybe take a next step in 2026.
Yeah, and what I'm gonna say is he's kind of just like, say, a Suzuki Light, like at a very discounted rate. I'm gonna like, honestly, hold on one second. If you had to guess, what's the difference in their ADPs?
Well, Seiya's right now in redraft, his ADP is like, I think like in the 70s, 50 to 70s. I bet you Jung Hoo Lee's outside the top 200, maybe even the top 250.
Consensus 251.
Look at that. Yeah.
So
you're talking about almost 200 pick difference.
And like Suzuki, better player. Not saying that.
Right.
But I'm saying, so you said it was around you said he was 70?
Yeah, I think something like that, because he's in that range where I'm at TGFBI right now, where it's like it's he is like 50 to 70, something like that.
Yeah, okay. Just like Fantasy Pros has him at 85. Sure, great. If you're telling me I can draft Corey Seager and Jung Hoo Lee,
right,
sign me up, because perfect.
Yeah.
But yes, enjoy the player, gets on base. Very, very much like Billy Beane and Moneyball. He gets on base.
Yeah. And he continues to get on base. I'd be curious to see if the stolen bases take a tick up here. Now we got a full healthy season. Maybe that injury is behind him now, and we get even maybe 15 to 20 stolen bases. We know stolen bases are up across the league in the last 2 years with the rule change. So you can also see an uptick in steals. I think you can definitely get like 15, if not more, in 2026.
That's a good one. I liked it.
Yeah, man. Let's jump over to your next guy here, and it's going to be Mike Burrows of the Houston Astros.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those trendy names right now, just because played well last year with the Pirates. Sub 4 ERA for a young pitcher. Great. Sign me up for that. 11.1 K per nine. Great. Had 118 strikeouts. Great. Fastball. He's got a good mix of fastball, curve, slider, change. He isn't going to be your SP1 or SP2. He is that back end SP3, 4, 5 kind of. If he's your SP5, then you're in great shape. Curve is kind of his out pitch, and it's unbelievable. Oh, this is kind of off topic. Have you seen the new pitcher list?
Yeah.
The graphic?
Like graphic thing, yeah, which some of it's awesome, and then other times I'm like, this is too much, man.
Yes.
Like, I like a lot of it. I love the letter grades that they give out. That's super fun and cool, because that's something that you don't really see in baseball, right? Like, that's more of like a football thing, like, or you know, he was graded an A, or I love that. I love the grading system. I love that they break down each pitch in the graphic too, like his fastball did this, was thrown for this many strike or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it breaks down by all the pitches that were thrown. So there's a lot of good stuff on there, but also a lot of stuff where it's like, I mean,
I don't need this.
I'm still not convinced that I'm buying in on or even know what PLV plus is. So or the PLV, that's the statistic that he uses, but. Yeah, I like that new graphic then. And another thing too is, I want to say that if you follow him on Twitter, the pitcher list stats page, he's sharing all those pitcher performance cards for free.
Oh yeah, there's
not even like a paywall in front of it, so you can review pitchers' performances daily for free on Twitter.
Yeah.
So shout out Nick in the pitcher list team.
And shout out Nick for the free ad.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, Burrows, great. I think it's going to be kind of like a nice little mini breakout for him, just because he did pitch well last year, but now he's kind of on a more seasoned team. And nothing like really crazy to say about Burrows, but I'm kind of targeting him wherever I can.
I think I mean, we've blown this horn so many times on this pod about like getting guys that are from like organizations that can develop pitchers. And Astros are another one of those teams that, again, not the top, like they're not a Seattle or a Tampa or like anything like that. But I think Houston does a pretty good job of developing pitchers for sure. And so getting a pitcher from a prospect from Houston is definitely worth a flyer for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Going over to my next guy, which going to Padres, we're going to talk about. You may want to think, oh, we're talking Ethan Salas. No. We've talked enough to Ethan Salas since he was like 16. I'm talking about Kash Mayfield.
Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash, homie. The Padres number 4 prospect and their their first round pick in 2024. So I think he's gonna start jumping up rankings here. We kind of, he wasn't like a high first round pick. I think he was like 25th overall. It's the Padres, so there was definitely in the back half of the draft. But left-handed pitcher made his pro debut last year. He pitched 60 innings across 19 starts for Low A. He had good success. He had a 2.97 ERA, 1.2 WHIP, 34% K rate with a 31% CSW. Still a lot of developmental work to do. Obviously, he's still only 21 years old. And he's got some control issues, which, what most young pitchers can have control issues and need to figure out how to not just throw the ball, but they have to kind of pitch too. But I think I think we can start to kind of see Kash Mayfield climb up some of the rankings here as far as pitchers go. I don't know where that ceiling is for him, but I feel like he's worth a flyer for when it comes to like a possible breakout for San Diego for sure. I kind of wanted to highlight somebody that wasn't. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about a lot of prospects on Padres, and I don't want to talk about Ethan Salas anymore. So I went with Kash Mayfield.
I liked this pick from you, mainly because great name.
Yeah.
But also, when we look at last year, the Padres traded every prospect that they had.
Yeah.
They did not trade Kash Mayfield, and I'm gonna guess it's not because other teams didn't ask for him. I'm guessing that they were like, no, this is the one that we are keeping. So interested in just seeing how that works out. But you know what? He'll probably just get traded this year. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, AJ Preller's going to do what AJ Preller does, and that's trade away all his picks or his prospects. It's like the guy from the Rams from football. They traded away. Yeah, they traded away another first round pick. They're just like, we don't need picks. That's what the Padres do. We don't need these prospects. Which is funny enough that he won't trade away his baby of Ethan Salas, but he has no problem trading away any other prospect besides Kash Mayfield and aside from Ethan Salas. He's holding on those two guys. Anybody else can be had for a veteran. But yeah, that's my Padres pick. We'll just move along right now to your Texas Rangers. Another MLB player we're going to talk about here, Evan Carter.
Yeah, and it's so funny because we say an MLB player, but he's still only 23.
Yep.
And last year, like I'm not going to use the prospect fatigue word just because like he is 23, but he only has 400 at bats, and I'm not ready to like go ahead and call Evan Carter a bust because his first, like he's played three seasons. Okay. 23 games, 45 games, 63 games. And were they amazing? No. But he was very hurt last year, and it was a back issue that happened like in spring training. Yeah. And it really kind of plagued him all year. But looking at his stats now, he hit over 240 with an on-base over 330. Like, it wasn't that bad. And we still had 14 stolen bases and five home runs. I'm still seeing like 20-40 upside. Like, I still can see like 40 stolen bases here. And last year was still his age 22 season. I feel like a lot of us kind of just like gave up on this guy just because of that like tough start. But he really rounded into form towards the end of last year. So I just want a full, healthy season just of like having fun and playing ball for Evan Carter.
Yeah. Couple of things. One, he came up in 2023. Not only did he have an awesome year 2023 as a rookie, he made and played very well for the playoffs.
Yeah.
For the Rangers when they won the World Series 2 years ago. He played awesome. And like you said, he's only had 400 plate appearances in 3 seasons because, like, they have obviously Wyatt Langford and some other guys. You know, Adolis Garcia was around. And they had a lot of guys that were log jamming him in the outfield. But if you, let's say, combine all 3 of his seasons, counting stat-wise, which, yeah, would be about a full season's worth of plate appearances, you're talking 15 home runs and 19 stolen bases. So the speed and power is there. He's really cut. Last year, he cut down on the strikeouts. So I was getting a little bit more comfortable up at the plate. And obviously, we fell in love with him as a rookie when he made that sick run with the Rangers down the stretch and in the playoffs. Didn't get much of a chance to follow that up in 2024. And then last year, he had a lot of injury issues, which obviously backs are going to nag you and just keep you from performing at your best. So, yeah. I like the Evan Carter pick, and I really wish and hope that he can get regular at-bats and get to full-time at-bats and see what we can do with what kind of output he has fantasy-wise for dynasty purposes. Because, yeah, still only 23 years old, he said. Yeah.
23. See, like, he'll be 23 this whole year.
Yeah. So, yeah, he still has – I mean, you arguably, if he continues to get regular bats, he may not even break out for another 2-3 years and have, like, a peak performance at 26, 27 years old.
Yeah.
All right, before we go into our next guy here, we got some business to take care of. That's going to talk about Fantrax. I don't know about you. I know we talked about this many times before. I play all my Dynasty Baseball leagues at Fantrax.com. Right now, we have our Fantasy 6-pack series going on, which is like a 100-plus fantasy competition with about 10 12-man leagues, 9 12-man leagues. And they all get compiled into one big Roto format. That's only possible at a site like Fantrax.com. We, again, split up amongst 9 different leagues of 12 people. We all draft for draft purposes, and then everyone competes against each other to who has the best cumulative roster at the end of the year for Roto purposes. Again, only possible at Fantrax.com. If you can sign up for free today at Fantrax.com/fantasy6pack, either start your new league there, or you can even transfer over an existing league. I've done that in the past too. They're very accommodating with that. They allow you to split up the cost for premium memberships at Fantrax amongst all 10 or 12. So instead of having, compiling and getting an extra $15 from every member, you can just push that $15 fee onto each member, and they have to pay their own way. So a lot of nice features over at Fantrax, the deepest player pool, especially for dynasty purposes. Sign up for free today at Fantrax.com/fantasy6pack.
Yeah, Jason, I think last week when we spoke about this, I told you how my friends wanted to join a fantasy baseball league.
Yeah.
So we have the draft. I want you to guess. So this is 10 Boston Red Sox fans.
Oh, God. Okay.
When did Roman Anthony get drafted?
This is a good question because we've been talking about it off air, and the helium that he is receiving is crazy. I thought my fan 6-pack series league, someone took him 25th overall, and I thought that was insane. So I'm going to say it's probably at the 12-13 turn for a Red Sox fan.
The team name before the draft was Roman Anthony Lover.
He might even be top 10. What?
32. Yeah.
Oh, so my fantasy 6-pack series league, as of right now, is set the min that I know of on Roman Anthony at 25th overall.
Yeah.
I wanted Roman Anthony in as many leagues as possible. I'm not going to have any shares of Roman Anthony if his ADP is somewhere between 25 and 40. There's just no chance. And I could be wrong on that. He could probably turn out like a top 5 outfielder production. I'd love to see that, but I can't take that risk in a redraft league. 25th overall, even 30th overall. I can't even get past 50th overall. I got to get him in somewhere around like the 60, 70 ADP. I don't even know what his ADP is currently at NFBC. I'd have to look it up here real quick.
Yeah, it was an interesting draft.
I can only imagine. Where did somebody like Garrett? Well, Garrett Crochet already goes super high.
Crochet went 12. He was the first Red Sox take. Red Sox,
which
player.
is actually kind of low. I think
he was the second pitcher. No, he was the third pitcher.
Oh, actually, his ADP is 12.
Scenes.
Who am I looking for? Anthony?
Yeah.
Yeah, his ADP has gone up to 55. And even on NFBC, he's got a min of 25. So that helium is inflating a lot of draft stock in Roman Anthony for sure.
Yeah. It was a fun draft. I don't know. I got Ronald Acuna, so I'm excited because I think Ronald Acuna is going to be like unbelievable because he's fantastic every other year unless he tears his ACL.
Yeah, I love Acuna. All right, well, we got one more guy to talk about here before we get out of here, and it would not be an NL or AL West show without talking Zac Veen of the Colorado Rockies. Very, very hot topic coming into spring training this year. The former 9th overall pick in 2020 ended up in the majors last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know did he break the camp or did he come back like a week after?
Yeah, he came like a little bit later in the year.
But it was in April, and they gave him a small cup of coffee, and they pretty much sent him right back down. He made 37 plate appearances and struck out 38% of that time. But he's shown in the years past his ability to showcase the power speed combo that he has. He has multiple seasons of double-digit home runs and stolen bases. He's had multiple 20-plus stolen base seasons in the minors. And now this year, the hot, trendy topic that he's come up in the camp with is now he is fully sober and has gone to rehab. And if you haven't seen him yet, he is a different person than what you saw of him last year. He said he added, I don't remember what it was, maybe 20 to 40 pounds. And you can tell it's not an unhealthy 20 to 40 pounds.
Yeah.
He's no longer string being skinny. He is now
purple hair.
He doesn't purple hair anymore. You can definitely tell that now that he's said these things, you look back on where he was a year ago to where he is today. He's obviously in a much better headspace. He's in spring training. I've seen a ton of great workout videos in the backfields and in the cages. Not only that, small sample size, but he's got 17 appearances this spring so far, 2 home runs already. So it looks like he might be ready to return that top 10 draft capital that he
might be a guy. There's something I want to ask you. So he's available on the waiver wire in one of my dynasty leagues. Fab. How much do I spend on? And it's positional. So, and he has left field, which is a wasteland, which is crazy to think of.
Those leagues are crazy. Those are always so hard to do because that's what you're talking about. You have a left fielder, an actual left fielder, an actual center fielder, an actual right fielder, right?
Yeah. Like my current left fielder is Andrew Benintendi.
It was not bad.
No, he's fine.
I would definitely throw. I wouldn't throw a ton at Veen, but I would definitely try to roster him and get him on your team.
I was gonna do 25.
Wait, the $25 or 25%?
25. Well, both.
Oh. Yeah, I was gonna say 20%. So
okay, I'm gonna do $26 just because I like doing the weird number,
the non round number.
Because I'd rather win it by 1 than lose it by 1.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, it's a great. This would be a great story if it actually sticks. Just the Rockies are so odd because like we have these blimps of like a year and they're gone. Like Nolan Jones had like a hot 3 months and I was like all over Nolan Jones for the
Brenton Doyle. It's just
Doyle. And we got Moniak
Jordan
last year.
Jordan Beck last year too.
Beck. And like at some point, one of them needs to maintain the success. And in all seriousness, I want it to be Mickey Moniak, and then I want it to be Zac Veen.
Well, that's why I'm having some concerns and doubts about Goodman, just of how good he was last year. And we talked about, like, there's an up down. There's been no consistency with the Rockies lineup since probably like Matt Holliday. I mean, I don't even know of a guy that I can think about that was
too low. Too low was good.
Yeah, that's true. And they were right around the same time. I'm talking about guys that have like consistently stayed fantasy relevant and put out top 100 hitter output in what you would think would be able to do in a park where you play at high elevation. But let's hopefully that, Zac Veen has kicked the demons and he's in a better headspace. He can correlate that into nice fantasy output.
Yeah, this was a good one. I'm excited to see just like anything that he does.
All right, well, that is our round the West. Oh, did I forget someone? You look at me like I forgot where, guys.
No, I was looking at my other window and then I froze for a second.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we talked about 10 guys. So
yeah,
that's gonna wrap up the ALNL West Dynasty breakouts. We'll be back next week with some fresh new topics. We finish up these prospects and breakouts. We'll be into something next week. But other than that, anything else before we get out of here? Oh, we talked about baseball. Have you finished Love Is Blind with current season?
No. We are in. Yeah. If you don't care about Love Is Blind, then you can shut the podcast off.
Yeah, we just gave you 56 minutes of solid.
We
baseball.
just had. I think his name's Chris.
All right, don't go too far. I am. The episodes that came out were I'm about to start the weddings.
Oh, we have not started the weddings. So
okay,
this is him just being like, your man is too submissive. You need a guy like.
Oh
me.
yeah. We watched that the other night. I saw that episode.
Like you're not. I only date girls that do Pilates. Like, dude, you're ugly.
Yeah,
like,
and
you're not even a good-looking guy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
He was obnoxious, and I'm glad that he's no longer on the show.
And also,
that has been your. Oh, go ahead.
No, go, because mine had nothing.
I was that's your weekly Love Is Blind update right there.
And here's your weekly Celtics update. Jason Tatum back
today,
tomorrow. Well, yeah.
All right.
I'll be there. Boots on the ground, crying when Jason Tatum gets announced.
Well, congrats to your Celtics. Hopefully they can continue to go into a deep playoff run with Tatum now.
Yes, sir. And Vooch.
Yeah, but I've been seeing a lot of pretty bad stat lines coming out of Vooch's corner in the last couple of weeks, huh? I think I saw the other day he was like 4 points and like 5 rebounds or something.
Yeah, he just doesn't play that much, which is fine. But
who does he come off the bench for like Lopez or something?
No, he comes off the bench for Nemes Keita.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's fine. And that was talking basketball.
That was your Boston Celtics update for the week too. We'll be back next week for another 55 plus minutes of baseball.
Right, see y'all.
See ya.
Peace.